With his late braking and insane overtaking manoeuvres, Daniel Ricciardo is undoubtedly one of the most outgoing and effusive drivers on the F1 grid. Aside from his driving ability, the Australian is also one of the most entertaining characters in a sport that is not known for having the most talkative athletes. So let's see what Daniel Ricciardo's colleagues think about him. In his first year with Red Bull, Daniel Ricciardo faced a four-time world champion in Sebastian Vettel after rising through the junior formulas and Formula One. However, as the German struggled with reliability issues throughout the 2014 season, tensions between Vettel and Red Bull were high. Fortunately for Daniel, this animosity did not reflect on him. At the time, Vettel described him as a talented driver who knew how to get the most out of the car. I think he is doing a very good job, and I'm not doubting that. And he is able to get the maximum out of the car, which he has been since race 1, which is good. On my side, we have a couple of things to overcome, but it's good to see the other half is doing well. Indeed, Daniel Ricciardo has praised the four-time world champion as the best teammate he has ever had, not just in F1, but throughout his career. To be honest, I really think Seb has been a teammate I got on best with. Nothing against previous teammates, not at all, but I think the respect he's shown for me has always remained high. While it would be easy for a sportsman who's used to doing the winning rather than the congratulating to become irritated with his high-flying teammate, Ricciardo said Vettel is always the first to offer a pat on the back. It's easy after my first win when he congratulated me, but even after finishing second and third, he was still as humble as he could have been. I earned more respect for him for the way he showed it to me, so that was very nice. Most recently, Ricciardo has been driving alongside British youngster Lando Norris. Norris famously had a friendship with teammate Carlos Sainz while they were racing alongside each other, but the Briton has a more distant relationship with Ricciardo despite plenty of mutual respect. With Sainz, I played golf from time to time, we competed on the simulator and stuff like that. To have a closer relationship, one thing is clear, and that is you need to spend time together and have fun, and golf is one of those things that made everything better. Ricciardo joined the Woking-based squad from Renault from the 2021 season, but the Australian took some time to adjust to the team's car. Meanwhile, Norris was in his third year with the team, so this was not an issue for him. Because Ricciardo needed more time to adjust, Norris believes he stepped up more as a result, and that was a key area of his development as a driver. I think especially in the first half of the season when Daniel was kind of getting up to speed a lot more, it was more about how I can lead the team myself and how I have to work without as much help from the other teammate, just because Daniel was getting up to speed. Now it's more equal, it's just a different situation. This season, Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris have been one of F1's favourite pairings. However, this was not always the case. Fans expected the two to hit it off right away, which didn't happen, but everyone noticed a shift in Monza, as well as Daniel Ricciardo. Without Norris, the 1-2 finish would be incomplete. As a result, Daniel Ricciardo revealed it brought them closer together. I do think Monza was good for our relationship as teammates and respectful competitors. There was some genuine happiness and respect between both of us, and it was cool to both be on the podium. When asked if he was surprised by Norris's form this season, Ricciardo admitted that he didn't know how far the youngster could push the scale before they teamed up. In a way, I don't want to say surprised, because there's 20 of us here out of many in the world who are trying to get here. So I always expected someone very talented, someone fast. But I guess the scale, you're not really sure about it. I'll be honest, probably like most of the world of F1, I think I knew Lando was good, but I didn't know where the scale went to, and I think he pushed that scale as high as he could probably go last year. Perhaps the most iconic duo in recent years has been that of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. The two clicked right away, and with the expectation of a few on-track feuds, they were inseparable. When asked about his former teammates, Verstappen singled out the Australian as being the most competitive. Daniel Ricciardo was the hardest to race against in the beginning, but that last year, I think I learned a lot and knew what I wanted. In the end, he was the closest to me. I think he was the best because of his experience. He's been in F1 for a long time. Ricciardo made headlines when he left Red Bull with critics claiming his decision was illogical. He drew even more attention when he joined McLaren after only 2 years with Renault. Former F1 driver and world champion Jenson Button, who's also a former McLaren driver, said Ricciardo's F1 future would be dependent on a successful partnership with the Woking squad. This move to McLaren is a make or break, I think, for Daniel in his career. He is still young, but you have got to start moving towards a team that can give you race wins and hopefully fight for a championship. It's an important move for him and hopefully it pays off. McLaren with a Mercedes in the back is very competitive. Button, who won the F1 Championship in 2009 with Brawn GP, which later became the dominant Mercedes factory team, said he was encouraged by what he saw from Ricciardo in a car that was inferior to what he had raced in his Red Bull days. I'm probably more impressed with what he has done at Renault than what he ever did at Red Bull. To have one over Nico Hülkenberg in his first year like that, I think is very impressive. Now we've just seen what Nico can do in a racing point, it shows his strength, so for Daniel to do that is very impressive. It's safe to say that many F1 drivers are impressed with the Australian. With the new regulations coming into effect this season, Daniel Ricciardo will be hoping that McLaren will be able to capitalise on the change in pace. But what does Daniel think? Well, he's hopeful that the new regulations will result in better overtaking, which he is famous for with his late-braking manoeuvres. Hopefully, it increases overtaking. In the past years, for sure, I still made some moves, but I've not consistently been the guy doing the best moves. In a way, it is due to how the cars were at the time. They were so fast. You brake so late and it's so hard to get close to another car. So to pull off moves was just tricky. So now, this allows us to be closer, to have a little bit more of a braking zone. I hope we have to brake a little bit earlier on these cars and buy ourselves a bit more distance to work with. I think that will promote not only overtaking, but more chance for the big DRICC to come back. Hopes are high for a more unpredictable Formula One season in 2022, but the team is already attempting to temper expectations of an immediate change in the status quo. McLaren boss Zak Brown has revealed that the Papaya team are not expecting the world to change overnight. I think it's great. We won our first race in Monza. We need to be careful not to raise expectations to an unrealistic level. I don't want to say our goal in 22 is to win 2 races. Our goal is to continue to get closer to the front of the field. Of course, we're going to give it everything we've got, but we still have a couple of years of technical catch-up that we just can't accelerate any further or faster than we are. We still have technical infrastructure that we're catching up on, most notably our wind tunnel. I'm not going into next year, 2022, thinking we're going to be a championship contender. Overall, it'll be fascinating to see how Daniel Ricciardo performs this season. One thing is for certain, if McLaren can deliver a competitive car, the Australian will not pass up the opportunity to compete for more victories and podiums. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified for future videos. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your thoughts on Daniel Ricciardo? Do you believe McLaren will make significant progress this year? Do you think the new cars will help the big DRICC make a comeback? We'd love to hear your thoughts.